We're live. Woo! You're looking live, the True Success Show.
True success.
Back on the air. They kept,
Yeah,
they kept editing my music, my intro. I guess too many people use Phil Collins. They don't like that. Don't be taking Phil's stuff. People don't like it. Can't take his music. They edit it. All the copyright laws. Hey, how you doing? Look, I know why they do it. Look, the reason you know why they do it for us. Look at this. Ready? See, when you make the top million LinkedIn lives, they're watching. The people at LinkedIn behind the scenes, copywriters. Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to the True Success Show. Jack Sani, your host today. Mike D.
Blanker.
What's up, Mikey? How you doing?
Good to see you, Jack.
Great to see you. Today, listen, we're going to do a Goals 2022 check-in and kind of just talk about what the rest of the year is going to look like. And so super excited today, but a little more casual and just excited to check in and kind of see how you're doing, how I'm doing, how the folks out there are doing. So if you have a comment, you have your goals you want to post, status update, that would be amazing. We started the year kind of going through goal setting. What would this year look like? And then pros and cons, and can you reset them? And what does it mean to lock it? How are you dedicated to them, but also honest and self-assess and maybe rejigger them as needed, right? So that's what we kept talking about earlier in the year.
I read a book on that rejigger. No, I'm just kidding.
That's a real term.
Chapter 7 of some strange book.
Scrabble. You can rejigger. Can you not? No? All right. Well, we're going to talk about that. Look, so we started out, we were doing, this is how we started out the year, all the goal setting and goal planning and what's it look like and what are you trying to get done and all these things. We had all this stuff. And so we went through hey, pros and cons. We had the best of the best LinkedIn Live.
I was going to say, we had some real excellent talent coming in.
Yeah, and they kind of shared some of their stuff. And so, as we start now the summer, we got through Memorial Day amazingly and just wanted to kind of check in and see where folks are and what that looks like. And so before we jump into that, just wanted to always recognize, as we are top million LinkedIn Lives, we'll just thank our sponsor.
Worthy of a sponsor.
Yay, man. That's what happens when you get the top 1 million. Yes, I.Help, our sponsor of the show. If you're not using I.Help, you're a knucklehead. Go, but get I.Help, $5 a month. It aggregates all of your online stuff into one spot. So whatever you use for web conferencing, online scheduling, all your calls, email, messages, you can share large files. Think about all your social media stuff all in one spot. It's really amazing. So everything you do online, instead of having to send that to all the people, if you're taking payments and you do electronic payments, imagine posting that online as, hey, connect with me here. Connect with me at I.Help/Jack Sani or whatever URL you want to use. And so amazing, really service, $5 a month. Go out, get I.Help. I think they give you the first month for free. Amazing platform. Everyone will have it. Then you'll be mad you don't have a good URL link or your tagline stinks. So go get I.Help account, $5 a month. And at the bottom of your email,
declutter your social world, world, your virtual world. Declutter your virtual world.
Really, I mean, and then what people do is they put it at the bottom of their email. Hey, connect with me at I.Help/Jack, and all your stuff is there. They can find everything. You don't have to send them 19 social media things. Anything you're trying to promote, I let I.Help do it subliminally for you. So thank you so much for sponsoring the show. The folks at I.Help, super thankful for that. And so before we jump in, any big events going on, Mike? I made it through Memorial Day. I am personally, I'm heading out. I'm in Ocean City, Maryland right now. And I got here driving from Houston. From Houston to Ocean City, Maryland was 24 hours. Made a one night stop, middle of Tennessee. We'll never do that drive again. As I was in a van, trekking through the mountains, heading east, not fun.
Tornado watches.
Oh my goodness. I know, I was praying for no snow and I got tornado watches up and down the mountain. We'll never do that again, 24 hours. So we're heading back south. We're going to Florida, then over to Texas. So I'm going to be in Florida for about 10 days. Little sun and fun on the beach, and then heading to the Houston area, North Houston area, and Conroe. So that's what my upcoming 7 to 10 days looks like. Made it through Memorial Day. What about you, Michael? Any exciting Memorial Day, fun, exciting things happening in the Denko?
I did. I saw my grandkids, and I saw one of them that's moving to North Carolina this
That's right.
weekend.
Oh, is it this weekend? Oh,
It's this weekend. So very excited for them. They're very sad for us, but excited for them that they're going to Asheville, North Carolina to change the scenery, change the lifestyle, and hopefully it's the place where they thrive most.
We'll be passing on the highway. Tell them, let them look through my number. We'll just be passing on the I-95 corridor. See, one of the birds is leaving the nest, heading north for a while. How long does it drive? Is Asheville from where you are?
About 12 hours, 10 to 12. Yeah. Guys in the car traveling with your wife, it all changes the clock.
Oh, I know. Look, I was just saying, Mike, for the show, we get up. We're leaving Thursday morning. We'll leave at like 3 or 4 a.m. because my wife's a smoker. So if we can jet out and I can have her sleep, I make great time from, say, 4 a.m. to 10 or 11 a.m. And then once the smoke breaks and the food and the bathroom, it all slows down. So try to get them as much done as possible. Everybody's sleeping in the a.m. And then pull in, cannot wait, pull into Florida to sit on the beach Thursday evening. God willing, we need some warm weather.
Sun's staying up late for you. It's waiting for you.
Ooh, it is chilly. It's been too chilly up here in Maryland. Not cut out for my blood has gotten thin. I grew up here. My blood has thinned out. So
it is not chilly in Florida, Jack.
I know. In Texas, every day it's 100 degrees. Every day they're there 100 degrees. We're going to go from 55 to 100. We're going to double the temperature. So
pretty close.
So cool. So hope everyone had a great Memorial Day. Hope you're getting ready for the summer. And it's a great time to just kind of take a deep breath, do a little inventory, and kind of look at where you are for the year. Because just like it's crazy that it's already June, summer will be over. It will be September. It will be the start of football season. We'll be like, what happened? How did we another year? So just want to take a little pause. Whoop, and before we begin the 90 days of summer, hey, where are you in your goal attainment? Is the year going well? Some unexpected things, some good surprises, maybe some bad surprises. And so, Mike, you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I'll jump in.
Oh, good. All right. So I have your graphic. Hold on. Here you go. This was the Mike Denker's visual. It should be hanging somewhere in his house to start the year. And so maybe, Mike, you want to go through the boxes real quick? Or go ahead.
So paddleboard up in the top. I've been paddleboarding. I've only fallen once. I got dumped by a 4-engine boat that was going way too fast. I'm not good enough to handle that yet. But other than that, I've been paddleboarding 3 times a week and feeling great because of it and loving it too. Just being out in the water. You need a
good core. If no one's ever tried to do that, you need a good core to do that. That looks easy, but paddleboarding, not easy. You need a very good core to make that work.
Well, I think I'm making some progress, Jack, because I'm feeling parts of my core that I haven't felt before. And so, it's fun. I feel little things like, what is that? What is that funny feeling? And then the middle top is my Bible reading. I've committed to memorizing the Sermon on the Mount, which is Matthew 5, 6, and 7, about 100 continuous verses of Jesus's sermon, maybe his best sermon, some argue. I'm on verse number 44 and going well. So I've memorized Matthew 5, 1 through 44.
That's impressive.
And trucking along and I amazed myself at that one. The little huts on the water there, I may make an adjustment to that because when I made that goal, I didn't realize you have to be in a foreign country to find a hut that's on the water. That there's no, they don't have those in the U.S. And so I haven't figured out how to pull that one off. I may have to change that picture, but we are going to have, that's our anniversary trip. Our 25th anniversary is this December.
Oh, wow.
And so we will have a big trip, but it may be a different image by in the next month or so.
They have, I'm sure you've already researched, they have, one of those Santas where they put one of those now in the Bahamas. I know that's still out of the country, but you used to have to go halfway around the world.
Bahamas is much closer.
Yeah, they dropped
definitely closer.
Yeah, they dropped 2 of them. They dropped 2 of them in the Caribbean, but you got to do it early. You got to do. They're way booked in advance.
Well, we don't mind being there late. Like we don't, in the middle of late, hot, we don't care. But the interesting thing is my I just mentioned my daughter and my son-in-law Mike and my daughter Samantha, my granddaughter Evie. They're pictured separately here without thought.
Yeah,
They just didn't make it to the.
Yeah.
They didn't make it to the Christmas party on, when we gathered everybody else. So I put them in there separately, and who knew they're leaving? And so
that was foreshadowing.
It might have been, but on air, Jack, that's you and me right now. We're on air, so we're pulling that off. And The End is my book that I realize that I'm behind on writing my book, but I will finish my book this year. Read some really cool stuff we'll talk about in a little bit. We have a marketing person working for us. So that team, all the hands in is us growing beyond just me and my wife. And then training is what we do. And so, and that's happening as well. So I feel like I'm doing really good on everything except for the book. And I've got it. I'll tell you about some pretty cool things happening. I'm more confident than ever the book will get finished.
Well, let's do that then. Go ahead. You got some loose ends with the book.
Well, it's I'm reading this book called Atomic Habits, and by James Clear. And what's really cool is that he doesn't knock goal setting, but he says goal setting is just part of a bigger thing, right? You've got to have systems to make incremental changes every day, and then his incremental changes, he says there's a breakthrough, just like Jim Collins pushing the flywheel every day, right? James Clear calls it. Little changes, incremental changes every day, staying consistent within your system that's building incremental. He uses the analogy of compound interest, gets, this incremental change make compound results. And then Jim Collins says there's just a moment where the flywheel just goes hockey stick on you. And so, progression just goes boom. And he said the same thing James Clear said, there's just a breakthrough moment. You can't predict it. But on the other side of that is radical change from being consistent every single day through your systems. And he said that you don't rise to your goals, you fall to your systems. And so goals are part of your system. So if you have good goals but a bad system, you're going to fall to the system, not rise to the good goals. And so he also said you're becoming the person you accidentally becoming or on purpose becoming. You're becoming somebody, right? But is it by accident or on purpose?
Yeah.
And he said,
I just put the link to the book.
Oh, it's great. And so he said about you need to, if you're gonna be a writer, you can't say you're a non-writer trying to write a book. You have to say to yourself, when somebody goes, "What are you doing?" I'm an author, I'm a writer, I'm a book writer, I write books. And a matter of fact, I'm working on one right now. I plan on finishing it by the end of the year. That you have to become this person. He used he used another example, quit smoking, right? If you're a smoker trying to quit, he says that's not going to work. You have to say, I don't smoke. I'm a non-smoker. I don't smoke. And so when somebody offers you a cigarette, if you say I'm trying to quit, always rough, right? And so are you hungry, angry, lonely, tired? You're probably going to be smoking. And so but if you say, nope, I've created a new identity for myself. I've got to change up here my own personal identity. I'm a non-smoker. I'm a non-drinker. I don't do that. That's not what I do. I'm not that kind.
Now you are an author. Checking. This is not right here. The end. Now you're officially an author.
I'm officially an author. And the silly thing is I already wrote a book. It's right over my shoulder. So yeah. But boy, the second book's been hard to get out. So a lot of reasons, a lot of excuses, but they're dead. I'm a writer and I'm an author, and authors make books. And so you can't be an author if you're not making a book. So.
What's the topic of the next book?
So it is very near and dear to what we're doing here with True Success, but it's the battle that goes on in the Christian lifestyle, maybe in all of us, but in Christians for sure, that there's a battle between this self that wants to take care of self and this spirit that wants to do good for the community and the world around us. And so I really think we don't recognize that. We think that's some form of schizophrenia or something. And so we say I'm good or bad. No, you're performing well or performing poorly right now, but there's influences inside you that it's not schizophrenia. It's just a truth that we've got voices battling, and we've got to learn how to master both voices. We got to learn how to master them both and decide which one we're going to allow to influence our life.
The two dogs, right?
Two dogs.
I've seen.
What dog are you going to feed?
I've seen Mike do that speech. That's super good. That'll be great. That'll be great. How are your percentage along on the book, or is it just still?
So no, I've got a strong outline. I've got lots of chapters written. I got a lot of content. It's really the transitions, bringing it into right now. It just looks like a bunch of chunks, and so I have to make that decision. Is it going to be the smooth transition, or Malcolm Gladwell taught me something really interesting. He just puts a number when he changes topic. He just puts another number above it, and just like, oh yeah, we're on number 2 now. I love that. No transition, just 2, and then later on you're like 3. And what did that mean? We just changed topic. We just changed topics without a transition. And so there's a little bit of a trick there that I may take.
Got it. All right. Well, listen. So we'll come back. Look. So here's Mike's. We'll come back and talk about are you adding any of those? But seems solid, right? So in this group, right, you're on paddleboarding, you're reading the Bible, looking for a vacation spot. Sammy's heading north. The rest of the family's still together. That's very foreshadowing there in the picture. The end, the book's in process. We're on air constantly. You got a team, and same team training is amazing. So that's good. Those are really solid.
And you made a comment just in talking about goals when you're saying refreshing that our options around goals aren't losing track of them sometime in January, right? Or New Year's resolutions, or staying glued to them to the end. It's like, no, there's a middle ground to consider. Like, is this still the right goal for me? It's when you just let them die a slow or a quick death and you lost sight of it. That's wrong. That's not what we want to be doing. We want to be considered, right? We want to be thoughtful about our goals and make sure that, should I still be tied to this goal? Okay, yes, we press on. If no, replace it. Replace it.
Right. If you're pivoting, right. If you're pivoting to a new thing, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Jack?
Yeah. So I have my 5. I didn't have images, but my 5 are reestablish a new home living situation. So I suddenly sold my home at the end of last year, and I actually thought I had it settled. I had a place here in Maryland and a place in Texas, and I'll just say that my wife and I've come to the conclusion that both of those are not ideal. Neither of those are ideal, and so that is still up in the air. So we're heading back to Florida, and we'll essentially looking for a place in northern Florida in the coming weeks. So way too cold in Maryland, way too hot in Texas. So that is still. I thought we were done. I thought I was done in my home buying, selling world after suddenly selling my house December of last year. And so I went into the year being like, ooh, let's just get some solidness. Because when you sell your main home, or you sell your home, there's all your stuff in it, which we did. It's unnerving where I have all my stuff in storage right now. So that I have these 2 places, but they're small and neither one of them is really home. They're kind of little transient. So TBD on that one. So reestablishing a home situation is still TBD. I'll run a marathon. I was on track, super frustrating. I signed up to run Magnolia Marathon in Texas, in Waco, Texas. The one the Gaineses have. The Gaineses, they have a race they do every year. I've registered for that the last couple of years. They canceled, and I was registered this year in April, May, and actually blew out my calf muscle in my right leg. And so that brought everything to a grinding halt at 52. Could not heal as well. So felt great, on track at all my flights. So literally 3 weeks for the race, blew out my calf, which totally stinks. So I am now in reprocess. So I'm so committed to get that done this year. I have done a marathon. I just didn't run the whole thing. So in my type A world, running the whole thing is a real thing. So that's my number 2. So I'm 0 for 2 so far. Just being a better husband, being a better a man at home was really my 3rd one. I hope I'm better at that. I just wanted to be just a better partner, life partner, a more calm, better role model for my 2 kids. And so I hope humbly that I'm doing better in those areas. And tied into that was really my 4th one, which was to think bigger. And the 2 things that I had written down next to that is like just not getting caught up in the day-to-day rat race, just being able to just not let the things that are happening, whether it's COVID or job change or economy or world events, suck me in so much, and just try to have time to think, and then think bigger. Like, hey, what I want my legacy to be? Can I have a bigger impact? What would or what could that look like? And so I am in the process of doing that. I feel good about that. There's some things associated with this show and some things I think we're going to announce soon that kind of tie into that. And so super excited about that. And just trying to think bigger. And hey, how do you leave a legacy? How do you help people kind of reach back? One of the things, in our faith is like, hey, why do you go through a trial? One of the reasons is to reach back, and help other people that are where you were or where you are, and pull them through. And then lastly was just career-wise, what kind of, again, tied in that last one, what does that look like going forward for the longer term? So those are my 5, and I think I'm only doing good on two of the 5, and the other 3 are really up in the air or not where I want them to be as of June 1st. So those are my 5 that are out there, and so far for me, some loose ends.
Well, I think that the calf injury, I got a couple years on you, Jack, and a few, and things don't heal.
Well, I wasn't even doing anything. I was just out for a short mid-week run, and I thought it was just a cramp. And I was like, well, I'm just going to shake this off. And I literally had to walk home. And I was like, oh, Lord. And so just getting back now to running.
Like if I get a cut on my arm or something, I name it because it's going to be my friend for a month or 2. You know what I mean? It used to go away in a day.
Yeah, I was complaining about being old. They have them old guys rule shirt. You're like, yeah.
Yeah. Old age is not for the weak. That's for sure. But those are powerful goals, Jack. And I was thinking about, when you were saying about the transitioning and going big, but the real one that's going to change everything is just being the man, just both of us being better men, especially to those closest to us. Yeah. Right. You mentioned husbandry, you mentioned fatherhood, you mentioned, and just a role model, those around us. And man, if we can crush that, or if that's where we think about our atomic habits and just get incrementally better every day, just incrementally better every day, the bad stuff starts to disappear and the good stuff just starts to shine a little more. And it's day to day.
Yeah, I would just say one of the things always stuck with me. I was fortunate enough to run into 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey's book, when I was young, in my early 20s, and I worked for the Navy at that point. They actually sent me to training as well. That they were part of, the Covey kind of life management, goal setting, and I loved it. Bought all in. And one of his biggest things, since passed away, is like, hey, he has that analogy with the jar. If you've ever seen this, like there's a jar. And he has big pebbles and little pebbles. He's like, hey, how do you get all of these? He has 2 jars, one full of big rocks, one little pebbles. And he has a 3rd jar. How do you get them all in there? And so what's really interesting, if you put all the little pebbles in first, you can't get the big rocks in, right? But if you put the big rocks in first, then pour the pebbles in, everything fits into the new jar, right? It's really such a great visual.
Yeah.
It's always stuck with me. And like one of the things he had in the old days when you had a planner, and now it's all digital, it's like, hey, what are your roles, right? What are your roles? You're a father, a husband. What are you doing as an employee? Are you a member of the community? Those kind of things. And those are the big chunks in your life. And what are you doing every day in those roles to be great at them? And then everything else will fill in. You know what I mean? But what are your 3 to 5 major roles that identify you, and how do you be great at those? And make sure you don't let a couple days go by without actioning them. They used to have in the planner, you would have the thing you had to turn the page was all those written down. So every day you had to look at it. And so it always sticks with me. Hey, what are my major roles? What are the things I identify with, and making sure that I'm proactively addressing those versus getting caught up, because we all can, right? With the phones, with these now, we can get caught up so quickly, right? It's gone. So,
it's funny that the Franklin Covey day timer, that little funny little spiral bound little skinny thing that you put new one in every month. But what you just said is so interesting. I was thinking about like paper. Well, people still do paper, but you can't thumb paper, right? You can't get a notification when you're in the paper. The paper's the paper. There's focus. There's there's no distractions popping up, or when you're on your phone, it's such a great tool, but it's so easy to slip off path on your phone, and it takes great discipline to master the phone so it doesn't master you.
Well, they talk about all the time in my church about, hey, we could be you're down the road. It's like you get a notification or all your stuff and squirrel, you know what I mean? Like that from that movie. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And so, my pastor's always like, you can take control of your phone. You can turn off notifications. You can actually turn the phone off. And so how to stay focused on the things that are important is so much a part about achieving success, right? How do you stay focused on your goals? It's such a big thing.
It is powerful.
Yeah.
And they drive us, right? And then we've got to create the behaviors. Another neat thing I read, it's a fresh book for me right now, Atomic Habits by James Clear. But he talked about identity, what identity means. It's your identity in its root form from the old Latin or whatever it's from it's the collection of your actions. Like you become you by what you do. Yeah. Who you are is a reflection of what you do. And I love that, because there's a quote like the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Yeah. I want to be, and I try to be, and like, listen, you either, Yoda said you do or you don't, right? There is no try. And I won't try to do my Yoda impression, but there is no try. That you just either did it or you didn't. And I got a lecture from a friend yesterday, I think it was. It was funny how we got in this conversation, but I ended up kind of getting lectured. And it was like, listen, sometimes you sign up to do something. Did you sign up to get something accomplished, or did you sign up to try? He says, because if you signed up to try, you can feel good about trying, but you're not getting anything done. Yeah. And he said, but if you sign up to do, well, then you don't feel good about just trying. If you signed up to do, you either did it or you didn't. And there was a lot of very compelling conversation we had yesterday.
None of that's good in today's culture, right? It's like, we have a lot of half-baked and trophies for everybody. The stereotypes we always hear. Grant Cardone put out a good one this week. Like, again, I'm not his biggest fan, but he put out one. He was just talking about being a man and being at the head of your house, and you either are or you're not good at that role, right? And there's like just 1 minute video clip of him just different interviews and him just saying, like, hey, like your job is this and this is the head of your household, and you fulfilling that. And if you're not, that's on you. Like, get that straight, right? It's both a leader, financially providing, making sure your family's secure. And so, again, I think that got so many views and hits and started the trend, because it's not what we hear, right? We have a lot of like very cushiony, you tried, A+ for trying. And so, but there are a handful of things that are yes or no, right? You're not a little bit pregnant, right? You're either, so some of the things, the big things in life, you either have to go all in and make them happen, or the trying part really doesn't matter. Like, are you a good, faithful spouse? Or are you trying to be? You know what I mean? Like, those are real things. Are you an honorable person? Those, either are or aren't. They're black and white. There's no gray in some of those.
It's so interesting that when you think about what you do every day, we're doing the little things every day. They're just not necessarily good, or are they good or bad, right? Are we building or are we tearing down? But we're doing little things every day that either make our roles, or make us less effective in our roles, or more effective. There aren't necessarily good habits or bad habits. You just have to determine, is this habit effective for me?
Yeah.
If this habit is contributing to my best self, it's a good habit. If this is not contributing, if it's not effective towards me becoming my best self, and who decides that? Me. I decide who I want to be, right? So if I decided and it's not contributing to that, it's not good for me. Right. It's just not good. It's not a good habit for me.
I think one of the best things that have come out of COVID really is folks a little bit more isolated, really having to kind of deal with their own stuff. In the old office days, when you commute in the office, a lot of people, frantic, commute home, dinner, in bed, the days can go by. And I think one of the things with work from home and as COVID, it definitely has had a lot of negatives, but one of the things that it's also caused people to do is kind of take inventory and look in the mirror, and you can't be distracted, or or influenced by what others. You really have to own your own stuff, and can you get through, and can you make it? Those are real things. And I think COVID has one of the positives is required a lot of people. Maybe some people don't like what they see. That doesn't necessarily make it a negative, and it's a chance for you to work on those things and change them. And so, like with that, Mike, look, when you look at your list, anything you want to add or change or update on this? I know you mentioned the vacation might change and the books in process. Any other new things come up throughout the year?
Well, I think not yet. I think there is something brewing, but it's not. I'm not sure what it is yet. But the book, I did change. Right, I decided I'm a book writer. I'm an author, and book writing author writes books, and that's what they do. And so I am one, and I'm going to complete the book to get that done as part of my identity, part of the systems I'm going to put in. I am putting in place, not in place yet, but the system in place will be that I'm a writer. Writers write. I will write today, and I will do that consistently. And down the road, I'll have written pages. And for me, the hard part is when it's big chunks. I get through big chunks easy, right? Boom, 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 big chunks. But then when you got to finesse the big chunks, like take them, make it look like something, it's the finishing touches.
Oh, that's
that I struggle with. In my mind, here's what's great though. In my mind, I've realized that's a 3-hour task, right? In reality, if I put a 20-minute deadline on it, I get it done in about 15 minutes, right? My mind plays these tricks about it's going to be hard. You're not going to like it. You're going to do it wrong. Iterate, iterate. That's a good word for me. Iterate. Just try again. Fail, get up, try again.
Yes. That's great. This is a great visual. I'm committed the next year having a visual because it's I love go back to this. I pulled it out from earlier in the year, which was super sharp. So
it's energizing to me. I mean, it is. It's energizing. It's alive. You know what I mean? It's like it's one of those things like it's alive and it's coming more alive as the year goes on.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for mine, I have no new. I don't have anything new in my repertoire. I am unsettled on where I'm going to be living still. My marathon, I'm still in training. I feel like those are big things I want to get done and will get done this year. Fingers crossed. Is that not good? Is it not good on the goal? Can I cross my fingers? And then, thinking bigger and being the best man I can be. Those are just those really resonate. And it's really, one of the things I just share with people all the time is just trying to slow down and take time to think and just what do you want it to be? Because again, I think a lot of people get caught up in the rat race. And when you do, you wind up in places you don't want to be. You're like, man, how did I get here? That typical midlife crisis. It's like, how did I get here and what happened? And it's not good, right? And the ability just to stop, go to the place wherever you love to be. For me, that's the beach, or if it's woods for some of you, or out camping, or running, or exercise, whatever it is. Just encourage folks to slow it down and spend that time thinking. Turn off your phone. Nothing great's coming through your notifications, and like, hey, what are you trying to get done? Like, what are you trying to get done when it's a year from now? When it's summer 2023, what do you want to have accomplished by then? Because I think most people, like, we're all wired the same way. Most people, when you have the visual, you set the goal, and if you're a typical type A, when you define it, you'll typically make it happen. Like we're most of us are very resilient that way. That where we get off track is when it's vague. Hey, sometime in the future I'll write a book. I'll do this. I'll get in shape. I'll be worth this amount of money. I'll buy a home. I'll move here. I'll be around my kids. I'll get away from my kids. I'll whatever. And when it's vague, it just rolls. And you're like, where did the last 5 years go? But if you're like, hey, by next summer I'm gonna weigh X. I'm gonna have done this. I'm gonna own a home. I'm gonna live in North Carolina. Whatever that is, it gets done, right? And so just encourage you to spend time thinking in a place that's good for you to think so that you get those things done. I cannot be a bigger fan of that process, and turn off all the noise, because that's when all of a sudden it'll be September 1st. We'll be right back here. We'll be like, hey, end of the summer now. Going to replay this show. How do we do for the last 90 days? And people will be like, I don't know what happened. I don't know where to go. And so I have no new ones. My 5 are solid. I'm only good on probably 3 of my 5. So hopefully in September, I have a better report card.
What's really cool, Jack, is that, we're doing this because we're never going to, until we die, and who knows after that. But until we die, we're going to keep trying, right, to live a better life, right? That's just, and learning to be content where we're at while we're trying, right? That because if you can't find happiness where you're at, you can't find it where you're going either. You have to figure that out. You have to figure out how to be content here now. But that's a gift. But the other thing that I read this morning, my wife and I read something from a guy named Max Lucado. He does these devotional books. And this particular one is a little excerpt every day from all these other books that he's written. He's an accomplished author. And so the title of this book was On the Anvil. On the Anvil. That just sounds painful. Like that doesn't sound like that's his bestseller. Like, that being on the anvil, because that means there's a hammer, there's a mouth. You're between the hammer and the anvil. It doesn't sound pretty at all. But what he said was, he was talking about when we strive to live a new life. And if we're striving to live a new life, we can't put a new life into an old lifestyle. He says it's a tragedy because the new life doesn't survive. And so that really hit us today. That caused us to pause, right? And consider we both, my wife and I both work hard to just appreciate the life we have and secure it and make it better and do whatever we can. But as we're trying to do that, we need to look and say, hey, are there things in our lives that are an old lifestyle that we're holding on to and trying to put a new life into it, and it doesn't fit? It just doesn't fit. And you've got to, that could be a relationship, that could be a habit, that could be or an old, one of those, some of that junk in your trunk that you're carrying around, you don't need to carry anymore. But you got to get something out of the life. You got to make sure you've got a new life going into it, making room for it in a new lifestyle.
I was saying, so I was muted. That was the new definition of junk in your trunk. Yeah. No, I totally agree. And listen, as we know from me, and I think Mike was referencing, we have a behind the scenes just really been thinking about, hey, what's it look like going forward? And so wanted to use the start of summers as we, just think about bigger things and how we make a bigger impact. So you will see some of that, I think, play out hopefully on our social media profile as we really going to hopefully take what we've been doing. If you've been following what we did, we started the year talking about, hey, what does goal setting look like? How do you do it well? We had some of the biggest names on LinkedIn. It's part of the show. You can go watch that beginning of this year. It was awesome what that looks like and how do you stay committed to that. And then we spent a couple months just picking out words of success, being persistent and courageous and having charisma, integrity, being persuasive, focus, self-awareness, handling conflict, being intuitive, staying prepared, and we did mindset. So those were words that are associated with success. And so really our next run at the process, really we've been working behind the scenes, is really talking about, hey, what's a framework? What's an outreach for success? What does that look like? How do you achieve? What are the principles that get you there? And then how can you get assistance with that? What are some resources to help you get there? Mike and I were talking about before the show. Why? Like, why are you chasing certain things? What's the why part, right, Mike?
Yeah, and Jack, we're knit together around trying to help people. I know that. I've known you for 15, almost 20 years, and we just want to help people. We want to help younger people, the generation that's behind us or sneaking up on us, and we want to help them skip some potholes, right? Skip some bad, like you didn't have to take that right. You could have.
I'm going to get quicker with that, by the way.
But we've been down some hard roads, and when you travel hard roads, you just look back and you go, man, I wish I could help some folks.
Somebody would have, helped me. Woo.
Help me get over it, around it, or skip that. And because somebody said the most expensive education you'll ever get is experience, right? But the cheapest education you'll ever get is someone else's experience. Yeah. And so we're trying to give the cheap education, right? That, hey, you can learn from our experiences and consider it, right? Like, listen, it's not like we're trying to say our answers are right or wrong, but just hear where we're coming from. And we're coming from a lot of places, a lot of experience, a lot of books, our worldview is Christian, right? Our worldview is definitely Christian and faith-based, and we don't think we're done when we die, but and we have a hope because of that, and that we want to share that as well. But there's just this life can be so beautiful, and life can be so hard. And I just want to help whoever's listening. I want their life to be more beautiful, right? More fun, more exciting.
I think that's really the purpose. So, like, hey, as we have endeavored behind the scenes, talking to some of the best folks in the leadership, achievement, success world, like, hey, what foundationally do those folks share? Because what happens, we all, once somebody achieves it, like you look at somebody, whoever, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, Steve Jobs, pick it. It doesn't matter. Michael Bell, whoever in the music world or in the entertainment. Once we know them, Tony Robbins or whatever it is, like we see it, we're like, man, I want some of that. But I think what happens, the hardest part is before the success happens. The hardest part is there's self-doubt. You're not sure you're doing the right things. You're not even sure what you should be doing. Even there's just a thing, you're like, oh, I'm a smart person. I'm highly driven. How do I get to the next level? How do I get there? And so really that would, as Mike mentioned, we really focus on the next generation to be like, hey, here is the framework to achieve whatever it is you're trying to get done. And that's what we hope to lay out over the second half of this year. Like we've talked about goal setting, talked about traits of successful people, and really we want to spend really the future of this show and our endeavors like, hey, what is success? What is the framework? How do I get there? You're 27, you did great in college, you're doing good in your job or great in your job, and you're just like, man, there's more, right? The whole Tom Brady thing. There's just so much more. What do I do? How do I get there? And so that's what we really want to focus our time and energy on. And so next week we're just going to have a rerun for the show. And then the goal would be, as we start out mid-June, it's really start talking about this new success framework. What would that be? What are specific things folks can do to get to the next level? And so we believe we spent literally months and years putting this together. It's going to be amazingly beneficial and super, super, super excited about it. So that's the future cast.
And I think, Jack, another phrase that I heard is just we want to help folks fulfill their potential.
Yeah.
Right. Like wouldn't it be great to live your life and that when it's over, just the tank is empty. Like, you know what I mean? Like I used it all. I left. Those are great things I love to hear people say about me and other people. He left it all in the field.
That's the thing. Look,
on the field.
There's that story, like it's been a faith. You're like, you feel like, oh, I had a good life, and you get to heaven, and then somebody goes, well, that's what was available to you if you took these. You're like, oh man,
somebody once said, it's a shame you went to the ocean of opportunity with a teaspoon.
Yes. It's hard.
Look it next time, will you?
It's hard. It's so hard, especially again once you've had some success in life. It's not the money piece, but once you've had success, the money part helps. But then the confidence from that grows, your network grows. Like once you've had some success, a lot of doors open. It is the time before that is really where we're focused. It's like, hey, you're trying to get there. What does that look like? What's the foundational framework to self-actualize your best? That's really what we're talking about, and going to provide a lot of very specific insights, principles, stories, lessons learned to help folks get to the next level. And so again, you will start to see that mid-June as we start to release that content. And I'm super excited as we've had the input of so many amazing folks. We will share some of them as well, bring them on as guests. And so this has kind of been percolating for about a year now. And so just happy to start releasing some of it to the world and get folks feedback and input. So that's what the future holds starting mid-June. So again, next week, we're going to do a rerun, and then mid-June.
June 15th, we're back.
Is that the exact date? Is that
June 15th.
That's awesome.
Coming back. We're coming live.
Yes, yes. We're going to release kind of what that new framework looks like and start to really just market around it and offer folks some real resources just to self-actualize. I think that's a great the way you laid it out. So last chance, Mike. This is on video for the world to see forever. Goals, any last thing? No modifications here. You're solid right here. We're good?
Solid.
Great.
For me, I would just say that I love that you're not setting goals to get things done. You're putting systems in your life to become the person you were created to be. And I want to be, the Army line. I want to help you be all you can be.
Army line. Yeah, it's sometimes we date ourselves. Yeah, that's the old Army. Yep. Wish Sammy the best as she heads to North Carolina. Wish your family the best.
I will. Thanks, Jack.
Listen, make sure you just take a little inventory. If you've not done it before now, hopefully this show, if you're running across this little video, gives you the impetus. Go look at your goals that you set. If you didn't, stop, this weekend, write a few things down. What are you trying to get done, the rest of this year? And if you had some, go do some inventory. How are you doing on those? Yeah. Are they good? Are they aligned with what you want to be? And that process can just slow things down because you want to make the most of each day. And as we all know, none of us are promised tomorrow. I was listening to the Delilah lady, at night, that lady that, she's syndicated all over the country. When you drive a lot, Delilah. And last night she said one of her friends, her husband died at 49 as a heart attack. And it just really affected her, because we all feel like we have more time. And so we don't. We never know. And so we want to make the most of every day. And so that's really the goal of what we're trying to get done and help people achieve. Amen? Good?
Amen. One last fact. Most people think they're going to live to 84. That's when they're going to be old. They're going to be old at 84. Not live to. They're going to be old at 84. The average death happens at 77. Strange math that we live in our lives. There's a 7-year gap between getting old and when we actually die.
Wow.
And so, it's sort of like, wake up. Like, listen, some of us are more awake than others, but it's wake up and start doing something because we all fall down. Falling down is part of life. We're all going to fall down. You got to get up, but the people that win in life get up faster. How do you get up? You learn how to get up faster. And so you just got to do that. We've got to get up, and we can't stay down. Don't let your buddies stay down either. Don't let your friends stay down. Get them up.
All right, look, I want to, before we wrap, just want to remind folks, I.Help, we're so fortunate to have them as a sponsor of the show. Go get your I.Help account, $5 a month. Invest in yourself, invest in your future, invest in your online presence. That's what everything's about today. No one's going back to the office full time. You're crazy if you do. So we are out of here. We'll see you in 2 weeks. God bless. Appreciate you, Mike. Stay safe.
Yeah.
Appreciate everyone's time.
We're gone.
Stop editing my videos.